You are listening to the Million Dollar Coach Business Podcast with Amanda Carlstad, episode number 271. Welcome to the Million Dollar Coach Business Podcast, a show for coaches who are ready to up-level their business and take their impact, leadership, and results to $1 million level and beyond. If you're ready to break through your limitations and start taking powerful action and become the seven-figure version of you that your business needs in order to grow, scale, and thrive, this show is for you. I'm your host, Amanda Carlstad, master coach, high-level business mentor and advisor, master intuitive, and business growth and scaling expert. Let's get down to business. Hello and welcome, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful holiday season and end of year. This episode is a compilation of some of the best podcast episodes that I released earlier this year. And it has some really important and profound teachings and lessons that I know can really serve you as you finish out this year in 2024 and really help you set up a powerful and breakthrough year in 2025. So with that, have a wonderful holiday season. And let's dive in. Part of the reason that I believe having a big goal, having a desire to build your business to a very high level, and that might be 7 figures, that might be 8 figures, that might be multiple 6 figures. For all of you, that's going to look a little bit different. But having that big goal is so important. And it's so important because we have been afforded an opportunity that even today, if we look across the majority of people in our society, the truth is that the majority will never experience this opportunity. And so when I think you really step back and you look at this opportunity that you have right now in this moment to be able to work anywhere in the world, to work with clients virtually that can be based anywhere in the world, to do fulfilling work and to have the ability to have unlimited growth and unlimited revenue potential, I think there is so much value in setting a goal and taking on the challenge of growing your business to a very high level, to a level that truly creates impact. And at the same time, it also allows you to become the best and highest version of you. So that is really important. Another reason I believe having a goal and being actively in the process of achieving that goal and growing your business to that level and beyond is because of who you get to become in the process. And so when I look at who I was when I started my business, when I went through my initial certification years ago to become a coach, fast forward to today to now being a master coach, to have coached thousands and thousands of hours, to have gained such a deep level of experience, and to have been able to hone my process and my coaching and my overall level of expertise, to now have honed that to the level that it is, to have built my business to a very big level, to the level that it's at, is why I'm here today. It's why I get to now help my clients also become million-dollar coaches. It's because it matters. And it's because of the great ripple effect that happens by them choosing to serve from and step into the highest versions of themselves. It really is, I believe, an act of service. And yes, the money, the revenue, the lifestyle, the freedom, all of that comes as a result is great. And who you become is something that no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what happens in this world, no matter what you might be navigating in your personal life, when you choose to step into a greater version of yourself, and when you choose to take on building $1 million business and you do that work and you become $1 million CEO, $1 million coach, it's a whole new level of being. It's a whole new level of operating that will serve you so well in so many other areas of your life, because the awareness level that you must cultivate and the willingness you must demonstrate to let go of internal limitations, the skill that you will need to develop of being able to grow your business to that level is something that no one or nothing can ever take from you. So in so many ways, I've been thinking recently, just with all that we're navigating in our world. There is so much. I know all of you are feeling it. And I want to encourage you that at the same time, when you are on the field of play, when you are in the game of growing your business, the personal growth that you will inevitably face, that which will be required of you, is going to be an experience like no other. It's going to be one of the richest experiences that you could have, not only because of the result, not only because of the money, not only because of the freedom and the time freedom or the personal freedom, but it's who you get to become. It's the freedom in that. It is an opportunity of a lifetime, my friends. So I believe that growing your business to $1 million and beyond is a worthy goal, because in that journey, again, your deepest and most purposeful work in the world will also be revealed. And the effect of that on your clients and on those you work with will be profound. So often in this podcast, I bring you client examples of what is possible. And if you've been a loyal listener to the show, you know that I love to share these examples of client wins. And a lot of times that might be a financial milestone. That might be a huge financial win. And I believe that those are very important to share, that they are important, I believe, for all of you listening to see tangible examples of what is possible. Because having those examples and having that proof, that evidence, and hearing those stories of those clients is important. So I share them because I want you to use them as proof of what is possible for you too. And so one of the things that I will say is, putting aside the financial wins, one of the things that is always tied to these big financial wins is the impact that the client is making with their clients and the hugely important work that they're doing in their respective fields of expertise. And there are so many different examples of this, so many different types of niches that our clients are working in, so many very specific niches that our clients are literally creating new approaches and solving major problems, very painful problems that quite honestly do not exist right now in the world, or did not exist prior to them launching it into the world. And so this is so huge when I look at my clients, when I see the level of innovation, how they are able to truly help their clients solve these very painful, these very big problems in their lives. And the work that we do to be continually evolving this inside of my mastermind programs, the work that I do with my clients to continually be challenging them to be stepping into those highest and bigger versions of themselves, where we truly build $1 million coaching businesses and brands every single day. And so one of the byproducts of making the decision to go after an extraordinary goal in your business is that your work, whether that be in the form of the coaching program that you create or the coaching offer that you have, in the content that you create, what gets birthed as a result of the work is your real purpose work. It is the work that you are meant to do here on this earth. And so in that pursuit of saying, of declaring that I want to build a highly successful business, whatever that looks like for you. I want to build that $1 million business. What will happen is that on that journey, in the process of pursuing that goal, that outcome, that dream, at the same time, your most aligned and deepest and most impactful work will also be revealed, which is a very profound experience. So not only for the outcome of the result and what will happen in terms of financial gains, but it's also about revealing your true and real purpose in the form of your work to the world. And directly correlated with that is, as I've talked about, it's who you become. It's something that that nothing externally can ever take from you. It's truly extraordinary. It's the very profound journey where your most authentic self will also be revealed. And I believe that entrepreneurship, building and growing a coaching business or brand, provides an opportunity like no other to become more of who you already are, to reveal who you are to the world, which is something that has been my experience, that it doesn't always happen unless you're in a process like this, unless you are in it, unless you are in the field of play, growing your business, which is the best and most powerful personal growth journeys that I believe you can take, where you are inevitably confronted with who you are, with who you've been, with what you've believed, with what stories you hold, with who you believe yourself to be and what you believe about others. The level of creation, the level of innovation, the level of new skills that must be developed and cultivated, the discipline of thought, the discipline of action. This journey provides a space and environment, I believe, for you to truly step into who you really are and for you to really choose who you want to be. That would not happen otherwise. So in this pursuit of building $1 million business, not only do you get to reveal your most purposeful, your most impactful work in the world, but also you get to reveal the highest version of you to you. And when you get to experience this, when you get to blow your own mind, when you get to a place where you appreciate and have gratitude for the opportunity to meet yourself in a new way, there really isn't a financial equivalent to that. There really is not an external marker that matters as much as who you've been able to become in the process. So I encourage all of you listening to think big, to choose to go after big goals in your business, to set a goal and go out and create $1 million business and let yourself reveal yourself to yourself. Don't have regrets. Get after it. Be the one who chooses to become who they're truly meant to be. In this journey of going out and building your business, there are different stages that you will go through as a business owner. There are different stages that your business will go through as it grows that will require different things from you as the CEO. And there's different things as well from a strategy level. It's very much both an inner and an outer game. And so what I mean by this is it does require that you go through a continued process of evolution, a continued process of growth, that you continue to develop as the leader of your business. And it also requires different things from a real strategy perspective, and that depends on where the business is at. And I've done some different episodes on the different stages of business. We will link those up in the show notes, and I'd highly encourage you to go back and go through those. Those are highly valuable episodes as well. But essentially, your business growth is always going to be a reflection of your own inner growth and the level of strategy and to the degree that you are effectively executing that strategy in the business. And so in order for any strategy to work effectively, and there are different strategies that I do coach my clients on, that I do recommend, that come into play at different phases of the game. But regardless of what stage you are in, there are some core foundational elements that must exist, that must be in place, that must be working in the business for any of it to work. And so that's what I really want to talk to you about today. And so that first element that is so vital is your offer. And when I say your offer, what I mean by that is the coaching program that you offer to your clients, or the course that you offer to your clients, or it could even be a membership. It could be the container that you offer to your clients. It's essentially what you're selling. So it's the container in which you help your clients achieve their desired result. So you have the tools to help them achieve a desired result, to solve a real painful problem, and that is what you do. And so what's really important to understand and to really get right in your business is that your offer needs to be irresistible to your most ideal clients. And I want to say that again. Your offer must be irresistible to your most ideal clients. And I encourage you to really listen to what I just said, because there's a lot of nuance that I'm going to go into what I just said. So firstly, when I say irresistible, I want you to think about the word irresistible. Irresistible doesn't mean just good. It doesn't mean okay. It doesn't mean something vague. It also means something that truly delivers the result that your most ideal clients truly want. And it's very important. It's something that is irresistible to your most ideal clients. It's something that they want no matter how much it costs, right? No matter what the container looks like, no matter how it's delivered, whether it's delivered in a one-on-one format, whether it's delivered in a group format, whether it's delivered in a different type of format, essentially it's the result that your clients most want to achieve. And so one of the things that I see happen over and over again, and I see this happen in client businesses and really just all over, is that a lot of times the work hasn't been done to really nail what it is that your most ideal clients want. And so in some cases, it might be not wanting to do that work because you might think, oh, I've already done that work before, or you might think that you have nailed it, but the reality is that maybe you haven't. Or maybe you don't see the importance of it. Maybe you don't really believe in the importance of doing that work. Whatever that is, it's going to look different for everybody. What I will say is that if you want to create a high level of success, if you want your most ideal clients to see you as the solution, to see your program as the solution, then you must obsess over what that is. You must be continually looking at and evaluating whether or not you're actually offering what it is that your most ideal clients want and need. And so one of the things that I see happen a lot is where I see a lot of coaches who look to other coaches who are creating a lot of success in their businesses, and they decide to go out and to replicate what they might see somebody else doing. And I do want to say here, I don't think that there isn't any value in looking at what's working. In fact, I think there's a lot of value in this process of being able to see what's working and what's not. But what I will also say, having, coached hundreds and hundreds of coaches and seeing the inside of so many businesses, is that when you are just trying to replicate what you see somebody else doing, and when you're not doing the work of truly finding out what your most ideal clients want, what your unique approach is, and really adapting that and creating your own version of that to properly align with your audience, to your most ideal clients, and also to your strengths as a coach. When you're not doing that, usually you're going to run into some big roadblocks. And so part of this is, yes, seeing what's working and taking best practices from certain places, but also really adapting that and really understanding for your most ideal clients what that solution needs to be, what that problem is, and what that end result is that they most want to achieve. And so when you do this, what happens is that as you take clients through this process, you test and you develop this process in a way where you create your own frameworks, where you create your own unique approaches to solving the problem that you solve, where you are able to then hone your approach as how you work with your clients. And so what ends up happening is you then actually start to serve them at your highest level, in your highest capacity. So the offer, the program, the product, the result of what it is that you're selling, first and foremost, has to be really dialed in and must be irresistible to your most ideal clients. And so another nuance that I want to point out here that's very important is when I say most ideal clients, I say that very intentionally. And I will also say that in the journey of building your business, I do think that this is something that continues to be revealed along the way. It's something that you will continue to hone as you go. It's something that continues to evolve. It's something that I can personally say it's continued to evolve for myself over the years. And that is what and whom you consider to be your most ideal clients. And I believe that in the conversation of ideal clients, that there's actually a continuum where clients will be at different stages of their journey, where there will be distinct points along their journey and distinct characteristics that they will have, and they will experience certain circumstances in their lives. And all of them will be at different places along kind of a continuum. I like to think about it in terms of a continuum. So, for example, when I think about my own business, I am very clear on who my most ideal clients are. There are certain characteristics that my most ideal clients have. Number one, my most ideal clients need to have a true desire to build a highly successful business. And for many of them, from a revenue standpoint, that typically means $1 million level and beyond. And I do have other clients that desire to grow multiple six figures, and we definitely support clients in that as well. And I also know that my genius, my work, my true, and my most potent and powerful impact is for the coaches who have a real desire to grow to a very high level, to grow to that 7 figures and beyond. And along with that, who are also willing to do the work that's required to do just that, that have the capacity to do this and that are open to developing the capacity to do this. And of course, over the course of our work together, we build and we strengthen their capacity, both from an inner game perspective and also from an outer strategy as well. But in every case, there are certain business circumstances that exist for my most ideal clients. And I'm very clear on what those are. And I speak to those things. I create content from those things. And because of that clarity, I have been able to develop my own frameworks, my own processes to help these clients achieve a high level of success in a very accelerated way. So my entire business, all of the work that I've done to this point has been very intentional and has been really set up to serve my most ideal clients. And at the same time, I will say that it has been an evolution. And I also know that it's going to continue to be an evolution. And I think that's a great thing. And I love that. I love being in that constant process of evolution and iteration. So with that, back to talking about your most ideal clients, in order to do those things, you also have to be very tuned in. You have to be tuned in to your most ideal clients. You have to be very aware of the things that they're experiencing, of what they are challenged with, of what it is that they want to achieve. And also at the same time, as I've done my own work and as I've done my own highest version of me, and as I continue to step further and further into that, my work has also been revealed in that process, and it continues to unfold frequently. And there's new levels to it. There's new nuances to all of it. So I share this because it's not something that will be static. Don't expect this to be something that will be static, like you do it once and then you'll never look at it again. It's something that you must be fully engaged in. It's something you must value. It's something that you will be continually working on so that you're creating your business, all of the content, your process, your frameworks from a place that truly does serve your clients and that is also irresistible to them. All right. So once you have an offer that is irresistible, and once you're clear on what that is, which again, I just want to say this is typically going to be a process. So this might even mean that you've already reached a level of success in your business. It's very often for my clients that have reached a 6, multiple 6, even 7-figure mark that, in fact, when I look at the clients that we have right now inside of our programs that have these types of results financially in their business, it's that what we're actually doing is, in a lot of cases, we're refining their offers. We're refining their processes. We're honing in their approach, getting even more targeted in the marketing so that they're serving at their highest levels and again, to their most ideal clients. So from there, it's that you must then have a very direct and a very clear way that you are able to market and sell to your most ideal clients. And I will say, I think this is one of the number one challenges that I see almost every coach struggle with. And this is pretty much across the board. It's the actual consistent marketing. It's the actual consistent selling and then enrolling clients into the program. And I will tell you, there's a number of reasons that I see this happen. And of course, every business is going to be a little bit different. But at the same time, if you right now don't have a consistent and effective way to market your irresistible offer, if you don't have a consistent and effective way to sell your irresistible program to your most ideal clients, if this doesn't exist, or maybe you're doing what I call throwing spaghetti at the wall, you're kind of just throwing out all different types of things with your fingers crossed, hoping something sticks, I'm going to pretty much guarantee that your business is probably not at the level that you want it to be. And you're probably frustrated and you might feel like you're doing all of the things. And what I will say is that a lot of times what's actually happening is that you haven't yet established an effective and consistent way to enroll clients into your program. And many times this can be because of a big lack of clarity in terms of your strategy. And or it might be that your offer actually isn't irresistible to your most ideal clients. Or it might be that maybe you're not even clear on who your most ideal clients are. So amongst all of this, when you have these different things competing against each other in the business, at the same time, what's also very common is that you're probably also, from an inner perspective, limiting yourself in the ways that you're thinking about yourself, in your ability, in your business, maybe even about your audience, right? Other people in the industry. There's so many ways that this presents. And so this is why it's so vital that you are doing both the inner and the outer work in order to grow. And this is exactly why I have created the programs that I've created and why this is the core part of our work in our mastermind programs. It's because you have to be implementing a consistent and effective system in your business, which a lot of times I'll refer to as a machine in your business, so that you can let others know. You can have conversations with your most ideal clients so that they even see you as somebody that can help them solve their most painful problem, and that you have a very clear way that they can take the next steps, that they can enroll into your program. So I want you right now to consider for yourself, what does your current system look like? Number one, do you even have one? And are you clear on what exactly that is? Number two, is it effective? Is it happening consistently? And if it's not, that's probably some of the work that needs to be done, which is, again, why this is the work that we do with every single client. The next element that you need in order to build $1 million plus business is really a byproduct of demonstrating focus. And what I mean by that is by focusing on those most ideal clients and being able to demonstrate this focus on your most ideal clients. And so with that, you have to be able to identify, where are those most ideal clients? Who are they? And how do you put your focus there so that you can have those consistent conversations with them? So a lot of times this does look like going all in and really understanding where those most ideal clients are and going in on that acquisition channel, which means that you're not hopping from one platform to the next, which means that you're not jumping from one strategy to another and really thinking that the strategies don't work, when really it's maybe that we're not consistently communicating with our most ideal clients on the channel that they're really already living at. And so what this means is that you have to know where your most ideal clients already are. You must go out and meet them there. And again, this looks different for every business. And depending on who your most ideal client is, this will inform a lot of what this might look like for you. But here's the other thing. It's also important to know what this is for yourself and for you to lean into and develop the skills and the capabilities that are required to be able to meet your clients where they're at. And there's a number of skills that are extremely valuable to learn that must be developed in order to lead your business to a 7-figure level and beyond. But you also have to know where it is that you need to play based on who you've chosen to serve, based on what might be most natural to you. And some of you might already have certain strengths. I mean, you all have certain strengths in certain areas. So it's really understanding what that is. And so, for example, when I look at the clients who come into my $1 million mastermind, these are clients who have already typically created a 6-figure or a multiple six-figure business who are ready to go to a seven-figure level and beyond. And so in a lot of ways, they've created a level of success already in their business. And there definitely has been skills that they have developed through that process. And with that, there's also a lot of new skills and new strategies and some tangible, real things that need to be learned that we do help them learn and implement. And also real shifts that have to happen in terms of identity, in terms of stepping into the identity of $1 million business owner. And these are all things that have to happen all at the same time. So it becomes this dance between tangible business strategy that must be working in the business. And it's also this inner alchemy that I see of becoming the next version of yourself. And it requires developing more and more capacity in a very intentional way. So having focus from a place of focus, creating and implementing in a way that allows you to meet your most ideal clients where they're at, developing the capacities, developing the skills that are needed in order for that to happen are all essential to growing to seven figures and beyond. So far we've talked about the necessity of having one irresistible offer. And I want to be clear here, just one. We're not talking two, we're not talking three, we're not talking four. We're talking about one really dialed in irresistible offer. We also talked about the necessity of having an effective and consistent marketing and sales system. And we've just talked about going all in, knowing who your most ideal clients are and where they are living and where they are already located so that you can talk to them, so that you can develop your skills, you can develop your capacity where you need to so that you can consistently speak to them and ultimately enroll them into your programs. And the next element is really, it's a capacity for scale. Now, there's a lot of things that go into this. There are elements as far as ensuring that your irresistible program has the capacity to scale, that from a delivery standpoint, that it can be delivered to many. And this is where a lot of times moving into a more leveraged group model delivery is where this comes in. It's also growing your capacity as the leader of your business and your capacity as an overall leader in terms of building a team. It's about your inner energetic capacity to lead your vision forward while also building these key skills, while also executing on real strategies in your business. And at the same time, it's having the energetic capacity to drive forward, to drive your growth forward, to deliver to clients at a high level, to start to build out and assemble a team to help support you and help support the growth of the business. So leadership, ultimately your level of self-leadership, your level of being able to lead a team, your level of thought leadership. There are different forms, I believe, of leadership capacity that become more and more important as you grow. And over time, I've also found that you must also work to cultivate that very intentionally. So as you move through these different stages of business growth, it starts first with what I define as self-leadership. It's choosing to demonstrate those high levels of self-leadership in terms of ownership, in terms of responsibility, in terms of your own personal resilience, in terms of the maturity that you demonstrate as you encounter inevitable challenges as you move through these different phases of growth. And to the degree that you effectively demonstrate this level of self-leadership is also going to correlate to the degree and to the pace that your business grows. And so I know that we covered a lot here, but I want to also lastly encourage all of you around timing. I want you to know that different elements that I laid out, so all of these things that we talked about, they can and do happen very quickly. And I believe that it will happen much faster when you're being supported by the right mentor and when you are staying focused and when you really dial in and when you implement what it is that we've talked about. Growth can and does happen very quickly. And I also want you to know that growth can and also does take time. So I want to encourage you that if right now timing is something that you are struggling with, I want you to not let timing become the thing that throws you off course. Don't let your expectation of where you quote unquote should be, and you maybe not being exactly there at this moment, be the reason that you stay stuck. Instead, I want to encourage you to shift your focus on the things that we talked about today, on these different elements that are going to be required for your $1 million growth, to where you might need to grow your capacity, to where you might need to demonstrate a higher level of self-leadership, to where you might need to invest in a higher level of support to help you actually learn and implement the things that need to be implemented so that you can truly step into this $1 million version of you and ultimately lead your business forward. It's really all centered around creating what I call an ecosystem in your business. It's creating what I call a holistic growth strategy within your business so that ultimately what happens is you create this flywheel within your business. You create a flywheel of momentum, a flywheel of marketing, a flywheel of visibility that attracts your most ideal clients to you and your business, to your brand. And this is where you clearly have the ability to clearly articulate and demonstrate how you can help your most ideal clients, how you can help solve the problem that you help them solve. It helps you demonstrate your expertise even before they get on the phone with you, even before you enter into a sales conversation. The people coming into your world are already sold. They're already sold on you as the coach. They're already sold on the fact that you can help them solve their problem. And they're sold that you can ultimately help them get to where they want to go. And I just want to say that this is so, so important that I just want to really reiterate this, because this is so much more valuable and effective than, for example, learning the latest sales tactics and learning the latest trends. And I talk about this a lot, but I'm going to get into why this is. And it's not to say that sales isn't important. Sales is important in your business. However, what I'm saying is that in today's industry, in today's game of building and growing a coaching business, as there's more and more noise in the industry, as it becomes more and more important for you as the coach to really speak to your most ideal clients and be really dialed in to how you help your clients solve their problems, the reality is that it's way more effective to create this ecosystem, to create a consistent system that allows you to speak to your most ideal clients. That's not to say that everybody you talk to enrolls into your programs. It's that you're consistently positioning yourself in front of your most ideal clients. It's that your most ideal clients even see you as a solution. They even know that you exist. And so there is so much that I could say about the byproduct of having a solid, consistent marketing system in your business and why that's even more important than learning, for example, how to have a sales conversation. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that sales is not important. Sales is important. You do need to know how to sell. You need to know how to have sales conversations. However, what I have found, and I've seen this time and time again with clients that I've coached through my programs, through my processes, through 6, 7 figures and beyond in revenue, is that when you dial these things in from a marketing perspective, your sales essentially take care of themselves. Your sales then become something that you're just refining at that point. And so, yes, I have a structure, I have a whole system, a whole process that I take clients through and teach them how to have effective sales conversations. But I believe the most ethical sales conversation you can have is when you have great marketing, when you have really clear marketing, when you have really effective marketing that you are leading with that allows somebody to get to know you, that allows somebody to really get a sense of your philosophy, that gives somebody an idea of what you're all about so that when you get to the sales conversation, and I say this all the time to clients, you want to be in a position where that conversation, if you're having that conversation, it's really more about the logistics, right? It's really about answering the questions that the potential client might have. It's about clarifying some things. And it's really for you to assess whether or not you can actually help this person. But really at that point, so much of the education, so much of the overcoming all of the questions and the obstacles and the challenges is really taken care of by that effective marketing. And so this is why doing that work, which I will say is the harder work, is creating that ecosystem in your business that actually gives you the capacity to grow, that actually gives you the capacity to scale. Why I think this is so powerful, and research backs this up, is that it really is a much more empowering place to operate from when you are able to be in the game, when you are able to look at your progress from where you've been. And so when I really think about this concept, when I think about, again, even before this book came onto the scene, to me, it's really about choosing with intention your perspective and choosing in any given moment whether or not you are going to be in the gap or whether you're going to be in the gain. And so I will tell you, when you do this, when you work to be in the gain, more often than not to say that you'll never be in the gap. I think that's unrealistic to expect that you'll always be in the gain. We're human. I think all of us at different points fall into the gap. But when you can intentionally work to be in the gain more often than not, there are so many byproducts of this. And I've talked about this before, but in the game of entrepreneurship, one of the characteristics of becoming $1 million coach is your ability to be resilient, is your ability to be resilient in the face of challenge. And so when you are in a gain mentality, what I have found is that a byproduct of this is that there is a level of resiliency that you build, that you gain when you choose to be in a gain mentality, when you create a habit, and when you put an intentional focus on your progress. And I will also say, in many cases, and I see this happen over and over with my clients, is that sometimes it might be choosing to intentionally focus on the lesson. And so over the years, as I consider my entire career, when I look at all of the work that I've done at this point, over 2 decades, and the growth that I have experienced, the success that I have created, the work that I have done, what I have created, my body of work, I can attribute so much of that and so many situations where maybe the perception was that I failed. But looking at that through the perspective of the gain and living as much as possible into this gain mentality, really finding the lessons, I can say without a doubt, it's one of the reasons that I am where I am today. It's one of the reasons that my business has grown to the level that it has. It's one of the reasons that even when I'm faced with big challenges, whether it's in the business or whether it's something personal, I know that no matter what, I can handle it. And I also know that it's always for me. And so I will say part of this comes from thousands and thousands of hours of what I call being on the field, being in the field of play, leading others, leading myself, so many hours coaching, so many hours honing my craft, really working to be the best version of me, and having a willingness to look at what my experience has been and why I have created that for myself. It's taking radical responsibility for all of it. It's taking radical responsibility for the wins and also for the fails. And when you do that, what happens is you also become radically empowered. So I want to offer to you that if you right now are in a place where you're being challenged, and here's the thing, I know that all of you are, we all are in different ways. I want to offer to you some ways that you can elevate your perception, some ways that you can elevate how you're thinking about whatever challenge it is that you're facing, and to offer you a way to help you break through. And one of the things that I think is so relevant for, I would say, almost every single coach that I work with, that I know, that I observe in this industry, and where I think this practice can be extremely useful is when you are in a place in your business where, for example, you think you should be farther along, where you think you should be at a higher revenue level, for example, or where you might be frustrated that you haven't achieved a certain level of success yet, or certain things aren't happening in the business. And I want to tell you that this can and it will happen at every stage of business. So even when you've hit that $1 million mark, even when you've hit that multiple six-figure mark, what will happen is that goalpost will always move. So just when you've reached the goalpost that you have worked so hard to achieve, where you have worked so hard to get to a certain place. And again, I see this happen with almost every one of my clients, that when they reach that goalpost, when they reach that goal that they've worked so hard for, is that they also celebrate. And within a matter of minutes, they're off to the next goal and looking ahead at that next big milestone. In fact, I was just talking earlier today with one of my $1 million mastermind clients who literally is experiencing that right now in this moment, who has reached a 7+ figure level in her business, who last year did about 1.2, 1.3 million in her business. And we were laughing because when she hit that goal, when she hit $1 million in her business, her literal next sentence to me was, "Now let's do 5." And we were talking about how literally it's like 1 second you're celebrating, you're in that gain, and that dopamine is there, and you can see how far you've come and look at everything you've done and look at all the things that you've overcome. And in the next breath, it's also like, let's move to that next goal. Let's see all the places where we're not there yet, where now it is the $5 million goal. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I think it is very important to have goals. I think it's very important to know where you're going and to have a desire to build a successful business for a lot of reasons. I talked about that a few weeks ago in my podcast. I'd highly encourage you to go back and re-listen to that episode if you haven't, because it is good. It is a great thing to have goals and to know where you're going. The difference is that we also don't want to beat ourselves up along the way. And so it's really fascinating for me to observe this in my own brain. It's fascinating when I see this with my clients. And I know that for all of you listening, if you're really being honest, right now in this moment, there is a place where, whether that's in your business or maybe something personally, where you are choosing a gap mentality, where your overarching thoughts are where you aren't far enough along, or you aren't where you want to be yet, or that maybe the level of success that you want, because maybe you don't have it yet because of some reason, and you're living and choosing to be in that gap mentality. And so I want to invite you to consider right now to instead consider what it would be to focus and shift your perspective into the gain mentality. Because when you focus on what it is that you don't have, when you focus on not being where you want to be, when you put the focus on being in that gap, in the lack, in the not enoughness, in the that which you don't have, what happens is you actually keep yourself stuck, and you create a scenario where you continue to perpetuate it even though you don't want it. And by putting your focus and your energy in this gap, I want to invite you to use it as an invitation instead to start practicing to step into the gain, to look at what you do have, to look at how far you have come, to consider your future self, and to shift your focus towards where you're going. And also consider what needs to be done right now in this present moment to also honor that future version of you, to honor that future version of your business. My intention is to really help you up-level and look at the identity that you're holding and really help you to clarify and assess where you are in terms of your self-concept, in how you're currently seeing yourself, in how you see your business, in all of the things that will ultimately really determine your success and the level of success that you create as a coach. And so I was thinking about this series and what I wanted to bring to you, and I've defined some core characteristics, some ways of being that I want to offer to all of you who truly want to build a highly successful coaching business and brand. And you may define that by a revenue number. I know many of you do, and that's great. And I am all for that. But you also might define that by impact, or you might define that by a number of clients or a variety of other things. But I want to talk about the characteristics, the ways of being that I have identified in my own journey of building my practice that is going to change the game for you. So I want to invite you to really tune in and to lean into these conversations, and not just today's conversations, but the upcoming conversations as well that I will be bringing to you. And so on a note on that, if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, be sure to do that. Thank you to all of those. So many of you have left reviews and have reached out and continue to reach out and give me feedback on the podcast. And I just want you to know I so appreciate you. And I also want you to all know that this is one of my favorite things each and every week, to bring you this show and to create this content and to just have these conversations and bring these teachings to you. So I just want to encourage you, if you haven't, to subscribe, leave a review if you haven't, and share with your colleagues, share with anyone that you think could benefit from this podcast, because my intention truly is to reach as many coaches as possible and to help them grow and scale and to continue to grow this community of the most successful coaches in the industry and really show others what's possible. All right. So this conversation, I believe it to be a really important conversation that I know will serve you, and it's going to give you some very specific things to think about and to look at for yourself, and quite possibly to take some action on. And my intention here is that you can do this so that you can continue to really just move closer and closer to your goals, to becoming $1 million coach, to stepping into your next level, into that highest version of you. And so I want to give you just a quick update and let you all know that if you are really looking at making 2024 a breakthrough year in your business, which I know you are, then I want you to know that right now you have a huge opportunity. You have an opportunity that I know will change the game for you, that will change everything in your business. And so depending on where you're at right now in terms of your business revenue, I do want to also remind you that we can help you go to the next level, that we can help you take your business from wherever it is today to that next level. And so something that we've been doing behind the scenes, I've been working very hard over the past couple of months, is really looking at my body of work, is really looking at the work that I do and bringing more and more coaches with us and really partnering with clients to help them take their businesses to the next level. And so for me and the work that I do with clients and the work that my team, we all do with our clients, the partnership that we create, it ultimately truly does really help our clients achieve levels of success that they haven't dreamed about. And so I've been thinking a lot about this because we have so many success stories within our programs. We have so many coaches that are doing phenomenal work, that are just creating phenomenal businesses and brands. And I've been thinking a lot about what I want this to look like and how we can help more and more coaches not only, yes, achieve those financial goals, but also become the $1 million coach, become the 7-figure coach. And I've always been very clear on this, on what my mission is, which is to usher in and to create the modern millionaires, the coaches who are doing amazing work in the world and to do that to help them fully step into their potential. And so through that process, through the financial success, so to reach that multiple six, seven figure and beyond mark, to do it in a way where they're truly proud of the work that they get to do and how they get to positively impact their clients. And so I believe coaching is so important. And I would just invite you, if you currently run a group program or a membership, or maybe you're even just doing one-on-one coaching and you're in the process of up-leveling your program. You know you need to up-level, or maybe you're ready to take that next big leap and launch a group program, or maybe you've been running it for some time and you've realized that you've reached a ceiling and you know that you need to do things differently and you've reached that six or multiple six-figure mark in your business. Maybe you have no strategy. Maybe you've been what I call throwing spaghetti at the wall to this point, and you realize that, you know what, I think I need a real tangible business strategy. You want systems working in your business. Maybe your dream is to have a business that literally attracts your most ideal clients to you every single day, and you're ready to scale and you're ready to put these systems in place. And you might need to start building out a team, and maybe that feels overwhelming and all the things. But here's what I know. I know that you're ready also to truly step into your thought leadership and to become known in your industry and create more consistency in your business and bring your overall revenue to the next level. Then I want you to know that you have an opportunity right now to partner with myself and my team inside my $1 Million Mastermind, where we go deep on your business. We go deep on your mindset, on your leadership, on your systems, on your delivery, on your business model, your thought leadership. This is where we alchemize and support you in stepping into your highest level through high-level coaching, through high-level advisory, through high-level mentoring. This is a high-level partnership where we care deeply about your results and provide you the strategy, the coaching, the resources, the tools, templates, everything you need to create a $1 million coaching business or brand and to step into your real thought leadership. And so I say all of that because I've been getting a lot of questions recently about what it is that we do inside of my mastermind programs and what exactly are we focusing on. And so I want to just take a minute and be very clear about that, because we have also, what's very exciting, our upcoming retreat that will be happening that also truly has the potential to change everything for you. And so I say that if you're ready to really scale, if you're ready to really double your business, to really take that next leap in revenue, now is the time. And I would also say that if you're not at that level yet, if you're still trying to get some things working and to create more consistency in your business, I also want you to know that we've got you. This is the work that we do in my mastermind program. This is my business accelerator program where we work with coaches. It's really designed for coaches who are looking to grow to their first six figures. It's an extremely powerful program and container that can accelerate everything for you. And so my goal is to really help clients reach that milestone in the most accelerated way. And so I truly believe that if you're a coach and if you have a real desire to build a highly successful practice, that this is the program that you need. Our programs are really designed to help you at all of those different phases, and it will change the game for you. And I'm extremely confident in this. And I just want you to know that we would love to support you. So go to the show notes, go to my website. You'll find the link there. There will be a link to fill out a quick application to set up a call so we can really put a game plan together and help you make 2024 a breakthrough year. All right. I wanted to give you all of that information because I know we've been getting so many questions about that and what our enrollment process looks like and all of the things. And so I would just encourage you, if you are feeling called and you know that you are ready to make this year a breakthrough year, whatever that means for you, now is the time. All right. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this year, for what's to come, for the work that we're doing, for our clients, for all of the work that they're doing, and all of the clients that we're onboarding that we'll be supporting in this coming year. We have some really phenomenal things that we are going to be doing. So be on the lookout. Okay, so let's talk about the skills that are going to be required to build $1 million business. And I also want to say that for these skills and these characteristics and these ways of being that we're about to talk about, I want to also say that these come first. And what I mean by that is that the financial success, the revenue, the success that you experience will all be a byproduct of how effectively you are growing your skills, your capacity in these areas, and how well you are demonstrating them in your business. Because the truth is before you have the result, it's really who you are being that creates that result. It is the journey of becoming the next version of you, of building your practice in this journey of growing your business. It's really the level of consistency that you demonstrate what we're going to talk about here in this series. And it will make all of the difference for you. And it will make your results inevitable. And it will also make the revenue and the success that you want inevitable. And so I just really want you to understand that all of that is the byproduct of you. It is the byproduct of you being and doing the things that we're about to talk about. Okay. So this first skill, this first way of being that will be vital to you building a 7-figure business will be in your ability to create, to see, to connect to a compelling vision of your future for your work, for you, for the impact that you want to make. And I have talked so much about the importance of vision. I have so many previous podcast episodes on this topic. And I think it's one of the things that I see also most coaches don't really take the time to do. Or it's something that's just kind of pushed aside, or it's ignored, or it's also, I think, one of the easiest things to lose sight of. And so I will tell you that in my experience, having a compelling vision of your future and where you are going is vital. It's vital because in this journey, the truth of the matter is that every day there will be challenges that will come up. There will be things that will happen. You will be tested. Your confidence will be shaken. You will have doubt. There will be situations that will invite that doubt in. And one of the most important things I have learned that you can do in these moments is to constantly be reconnecting to and to constantly be looking at and remembering this compelling future, that compelling vision that you have and where you're going. Because if you are caught up just in the day-to-day, if you are caught up in only thinking in the short term, if you're coming from a place of lack or scarcity in your business, if your focus, if your energy is going to a place of lack or scarcity, what happens is you only create more of that. It really does become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But when you have a compelling vision, when you are connected to that compelling vision of your future, what will happen by default is your focus, your energy in the present moment, when you are deeply connected to that, when you are remembering what that is, when you feel that in your body, it will shape who you are in that moment. It will shape what you do and what you choose to focus on in that moment. It will shape how you are showing up in your business and whether you're showing up in a powerful state or in what I would call a primal state. And a primal state is where you're being driven by those primal emotions, where you aren't fully utilizing your prefrontal cortex, where instead you're in an emotional state like fight or flight, or maybe even freeze, or where you might be feeling a state of confusion or overwhelm, or even a sense of hopelessness. So it's so important to recognize that being in these types of emotional states, it's going to be impossible to create the results that you want. Like literally impossible. And so this is why having that compelling vision and knowing what that is, connecting to that frequently is so vital. Now, I have learned over time that I personally would consider myself to be a natural visionary. And so for me, casting a vision, seeing a vision of what's possible, intentionally deciding what that is and what I want to experience in my business, in my life, has been for me something that I have always naturally been good at. It's come very easy to me. In fact, I believe it to be one of my superpowers. And being highly intuitive, for me, one of the things that I think really supports our clients so well is that I'm able to immediately see, not only just for myself, but for all of the clients that we work with, that expanded vision, that vision of what's possible, that vision of what's to come. And what I have found is that knowing where you are going, creating that vision with intention, with precision, is vital in your business. And I will also say this is true for any business. This isn't just in the coaching world. This isn't just building a coaching business. This is vital to any business. So we have to start there. You have to be clear on where you're going. And so what that does is when you do that, you can then operate from that future vision, that expanded vision versus current circumstances. And I will say that when I see coaches not creating the results in their businesses or where they're not exactly where they want to be, in most cases, what's happening is that they're working from current circumstances, meaning they are instead operating from where their business is today, from where perhaps the clients that they have are today, or even in a lot of cases where their bank account is today. And so what is so vital here is that you first have to define and be clear on where it is that you're going, on what that future version of your business looks like, on what that future version of you is, so that you can show up today with real intention, with more purpose, with more certainty in where you're going. So that is number one. The next skill that you must develop that I believe you have to demonstrate consistently is the skill of emotional regulation. Now, what do I mean when I say this? What I mean is that I think it's important to recognize that as humans, what naturally happens is that we are highly driven by our emotions, meaning everything we either do or everything we don't do will come from a place where we're making decisions based on feelings, based on an emotion that we're either currently experiencing or maybe that we want to experience, or it might even be from a place of we don't want to experience a certain emotion or a certain feeling. So I want you all to think for a minute. I want you to look at a recent decision that you've made, or maybe it's a decision that you are in the process of considering right now. And I want you to get really honest with yourself. And I want you to ask yourself if you're making that decision from your future self, or are you making that decision from your current circumstance? Meaning, are you living into and making that decision from a place of vision, from a place of expansion, from a place of growth? Or are you making that decision from a place of lack, or from a place of fear, or from a place where there's a feeling of constriction? And I want you to think about that, because here's the thing. In order to experience the business success, the money, whatever that looks like, you must operate from a powerful emotional state. What is so important to understand is when you are in this journey of growing a business for the long game, which I think is a prerequisite to the journey. And I've talked a lot about this and about the importance of being in this for the long game and thinking from the long game. And a lot of times, again, we want to just jump to the result. we want to just jump immediately to that end result, and we want it to be as easy as possible. And what I will say is that all of this is totally normal. It's how we're wired. And also, it's important to really look at our ways of being around the characteristics that we're about to talk about, that I have worked on for myself, that when I look back on my journey and my business growth journey are the things that I've been required to learn, to strengthen, and that I continue to strengthen and cultivate. So let's dive into these characteristics. The vital skills that I have found that you must be willing to learn and that you must be willing to cultivate if you have a goal to grow to 7 figures and beyond in your business. The next skill that I would say is your self-leadership. Now, I want to be clear in how I define self-leadership. And so when I was thinking about this and I was considering how I define self-leadership, I decided to just look up the definition of self-leadership. And what actually surprised me was that there were a lot of definitions of it, many, many different definitions of self-leadership. And I found myself actually resonating with a lot of the definitions that I found. I thought that a lot of them were actually very relevant, which quite honestly doesn't happen that often. But as I was thinking about this, and when I think about what it means to demonstrate self-leadership in the context of business, it's the practice of leading oneself from that highest version of self, where you're making decisions, where you're operating from, where you're taking full responsibility, where you're choosing with intention, where you are owning the fact that every result that you have, or maybe you don't have, regardless of circumstances, that you understand and own the fact that you have responsibility. And just to be clear, I'm talking, again, in the context of business. This does absolutely apply to your personal life as well. And it's something that I believe we all get to do. And I think it's a really important perspective and lens to use for so much in life, for so much in business, that I really want to encourage you to consider. Because I think a lot of times, and if we're honest, the easy thing is to abdicate our responsibility. The easy thing is to blame. And what I have found is that it is much more disciplined. It is much more powerful when you actually assume responsibility for every result that you have. And I also want to say here that it's not some heavy burden that we have to carry. And again, I'm talking about the results we have in our businesses and in our personal lives. What I'm not talking about here are things that maybe have happened to us in our lives, unfortunate things where maybe somebody else chose to do certain things. Maybe we experienced some traumatic things or we had traumatic upbringing, things of that nature. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about are the things related to business, to life, where we do have choice, where we do have agency in our decisions. And I want to encourage you that this isn't, again, a heavy burden that we have to carry. In fact, being in a place where you have the awareness level to know that you do, in fact, create your results, and knowing that there's always choice. And to the degree you're making choices and working from a self-led place, I have found this to be one of the secrets to my success. And there are so many examples that I could give you where this is relevant in business. And so I would just ask you right now, when you consider the results that you have, where you aren't experiencing the result that you truly want in your business, and maybe you look a little deeper in that. Maybe you realize that you're accepting a story, or maybe you're telling yourself that it's not possible for you, or maybe you are believing that you don't have what it takes, or that what you want just isn't possible. And I share this because I see this as a really common story that I see a lot of coaches accept, where you doubt what is truly possible for you, where a lot of times on an unconscious level, you accept that story, where I want to say that for all of us, on an unconscious level is what is actually guiding our thoughts. It's what is guiding our decisions, our actions. And so even just through that unconscious acceptance, even a lot of times through the entertainment of that doubt, what happens is we have then corresponding thoughts that also start to build, that we also start to entertain, and we start to then see evidence and in some cases, engage in conversations where the overarching topic is about how it's not possible. And so in that place, it's very common to start to see that more and more evidence of it not being possible. And it's actually building that belief even stronger and strengthening that belief, where instead, when you operate from a place where you are choosing to be in a place that is self-led, where you are choosing to engage in conversations that are about taking responsibility, where instead you are choosing to be the one that shows up in possibility, that is choosing to see the evidence of where it is happening, where it is possible, that is more concerned with asking yourself or being questioned and being open to those higher quality questions. It's making a choice to believe, even when the evidence might be contrary. It's not about giving away your personal power to external circumstances. And this, my friends, is something I've experienced and I've observed, and it's so important to cultivate this. So self-leadership and exercising your choice to show up from a place of true self-leadership is so vitally important. All right. The next skill that is essential to growing your business to 7 figures and beyond is something that is way more tactical. And that is your ability, your skill in marketing your business well, and your ability to market your business in a way that truly attracts the right clients to you. And I feel like I could do an entire episode, an entire series on each of these characteristics and skills. And I've talked a lot about some of these things in earlier podcasts. But right now, I want you to just consider for a moment. I would guarantee that for each and every one of you listening right now in this moment, and you are probably aware of this, you are aware that you are leaving money on the table. And I say this from a place of being real with all of you. Because the fact is that unless you have a very dialed in and consistent marketing machine that is working in your business, that you have implemented, that you have worked to optimize, that has been in place for some time, unless you have a marketing system that is consistently generating sales for your program or programs on a consistent basis, unless you have a solid recurring revenue happening in your business, which I'm going to talk more and more about this in future episodes, the importance of that. Unless you can predictably and reliably know that you are generating X amount of sales, that X amount of cash is coming into your business on a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis, my friends, there is work to be done. And I will tell you, even at that point, what will happen is that there are different levels of work that then gets to be done to increase that. But at a minimum, if you do not know where your next clients are coming from, if you do not have that predictable and reliable marketing system, that process for them to come into your program, then there is either a major skill gap or an implementation gap. And to be honest, it's probably a combination of the two. Because for every 7-figure, 8-figure coaching business that exists, there is some sort of predictable and reliable marketing system that is working in the business, that is dialed in, where clients are either directly enrolling or booking in sales calls. And it's happening with a very high degree of predictability and reliability on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And I will tell you, the more that I see this, the more that I will say this is a prerequisite to a 7-figure business. And here's what else I know. For most of you listening, I know that you decided to become a coach because you truly care. You care about people. You care about helping others. And I also know that you're a coach because you also see what is possible. You see what is possible in this industry. And I also know that for most coaches, the reality is that you probably don't have a background in marketing. You probably haven't started a business in the past. This is probably your first introduction to entrepreneurship. And with that, it's also very normal to not know exactly what to do. It's very normal to not know what next steps to take, how to create a real marketing system, how to implement this into your business, how to optimize this once it's in your business. And I think about this quite often because for me personally, I have run startups and led startups and grown startups and scaled startups my entire career. I have worked in marketing and sales, in high-level leadership my entire career. I hold an MBA. My undergraduate degree is in marketing and communications. I am a master coach. So for me, I get this game, and still, I will tell you all, I am continually learning new things all the time. I am applying new things in real time. I am passing on the latest and greatest, the most cutting edge strategies to my clients. And it's what I have found is required, that you must approach your marketing, your sales, how you are getting your story, your message out to your most ideal clients as a priority in your business, as a daily priority. And it's only when you do that, it's only when you frankly do the real work of laying the proper foundation in your business, which I will tell you is the hard work. The easier way is to throw spaghetti at the wall. The easier thing is to constantly be in the pursuit of that silver bullet, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, to be chasing shiny objects. The real work is building a proper foundation that can actually hold the growth that you desire, where you have the foundation that can truly hold the growth that you desire. All right. I have a lot more to say when it comes to the importance of building and establishing an effective marketing and sales strategy in your business. But for now, I want you to really consider on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being 100% solid, how solid are you right now? Where you have a real consistent marketing strategy working in your business, where if right now you don't have the results you want yet in your business, I can say with certainty that one of the reasons is because of this, is because that foundation isn't there. All right. The next skill is training yourself and cultivating what I alluded to earlier to really be in a place where you are continually thinking long-term. One of the perspectives that has really helped me in my journey tremendously has been in my ability and has been putting my attention consciously towards what I call the long game. My business, my vision, not just the short term, but also more importantly, the long term. And what that has done for me and for my business has been to experience very steady, very solid growth year after year in a way that is also very sustainable, in a way where, because I have focused on the long game, where I really have a clear vision of where I'm going, where my business is going, where my programs and my clients are going, it has allowed me in moments, again, where there might be a challenge, where maybe something didn't go as planned, to step aside from that and really make a clear assessment about why something did or didn't work, to not fall into a state of despair or defeat, to be able to clearly look at data and to see it as that, to not take things so personal, to be able to adjust so much more quickly where I've needed to. It has kept me, quite honestly, in a much more peak state of operation within my business versus when you're in a place where you're not clear, where you don't know where you're going, or maybe you're in a position where maybe you're experiencing a dip in your business. It's very easy to allow your emotions to get the best of you, to be in control. And what happens is from there, you start to make decisions and you start to take action from a highly emotional place versus operating and making decisions and taking actions from a very steady, solid, grounded place where you can actually be in that peak state, where you can actually weather the storm, so to speak. So I see this a lot with coaches, especially who don't have that solid marketing strategy in place, like we just talked about, that tend to fall into very short-term thinking. And it's really coming from a place to make money quickly, or from a place, in some cases, of panic or desperation or some level of despair or disbelief. And what will happen is the result of that is that a new offer a lot of times is created. A new offer is then sold where, again, the idea, the intention might be to make that quick cash. But what happens is that this becomes a very hard cycle to get out of. It becomes a very vicious cycle where all of a sudden, unknowingly and unintentionally, you might have created several different types of offers. You've just completely complicated your business. And it's actually made it so much harder for your marketing and sales to be so much more effective. And it has you living in and showing up in a place in your business from a much more dysregulated, and I would even say frantic place. And so what I see happen all the time is that although it might seem on the surface that this is the right move, right? Because you might have made some sales. The flip side of that is that you also haven't solved how do you actually make sales over the long term? How do you make sales with that predictability, with that repeatability in the business? Which then what will happen is it typically lands the coach again in that same spot at the beginning of the following month. One of the hardest places I believe you can be in your business is when you are starting every month from zero. And I know a lot of you listening might be able to relate to that, where you might be there right now because you can relate to either what I just described and you realize that, yeah, I've been focused on the short term and I've been focused on just creating cash rather than building a real system, where I've been not focused on building that one transformational offer for my clients, where I haven't learned the skill to sell that transformational offer over and over again. Or you might be in a place where you're just in an earlier phase of business and you're really building that momentum. Either way, one of the best perspectives I believe you can approach your business with is, how do I create this from a place of the long game? How do I create this from a place where this is a real asset in my business, where I can really master this, where whether that's delivering your coaching program, whether that's your marketing, whether that's growing your skill in sales, the truth is that to get to 7 figures and to sustain 7-figure growth, you cannot reach that. You cannot sustain that without prioritizing the long game. So what I would ask you right now is, where are you focused on what's right in front of you? Where right now are you choosing only the short term? Where right now are you approaching the business purely from an emotional perspective? That will tell you where you have an opportunity. All right. The next skill, the next characteristics that is required and will be required for the long game is becoming a master at your craft. Now, one of the considerations that I have thought about and that I think has been one of the most important considerations for me personally has been, what do I really want to be known for? What is the highest version of my work, of my calling, that leverages all of my strengths, where I am operating as the highest version of me? And I have done a lot of thought and a lot of work around that and have been very conscious about what that is. And so it's so interesting because today I know without a doubt, because of the work that I have personally done, because of the student that I have been and that I continue to be, because of the work that I have done on myself, I am very clear on what that is. I'm very clear that my calling is to help others build and grow $1 million and beyond businesses. And I'm so solid on the level of expertise that I bring. I'm so confident in my ability. I'm so solid in my experience that I have really taken on and continue to take on becoming more and more of a master of my craft. And I will say that there are seasons of this where, for me, where I have focused on my coaching, where I have intentionally focused on becoming an even more powerful coach for my clients, where there have also been times where I've been focused on the integration of that, where I've been focused on the embodiment of that, where it's not really about learning anything new, but it's about the application. It's about the integration. It's about the embodiment. And so I would just offer to you that there are seasons to this where I think you, in some seasons, may be more heavily focused on the strategic aspects of the business. And for me, I have just been really conscious of that. I've been very present to that. and also very present to my clients. And so there is an ebb and a flow to this, and it does look different at different times. But what I will say is that it is always very intentional to serve my clients at the highest level, to serve my mission, to serve my vision, to serve my work and my calling. And I'm also completely open and so aware that this never goes away. And I just believe that this pursuit of being masterful is a very worthy pursuit. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not everything, but for me and for the clients that I work with, it's very important. So whether that looks like leaning into a certain modality or a certain approach, or layering on maybe even additional training, whatever that might be, I will tell you, for me and for the most successful coaches that I know in this industry, there is real intention behind it. There is real intention to serve clients at an even deeper level. It's really about helping clients achieve even better results. So pursuing greatness in your field of expertise as a coach is so important, and it's a lifelong pursuit. And there will be times where you might not be as focused on it. There will be times where you put more intention, more time, more energy around this. And I think it's just important to be able to discern when that makes sense. And so I talked about this a little while back in one of my podcast episodes, but I look at my evolution as a coach and I look at my decision to become a master coach very much in this way. One of the conscious decisions that I made very early on was that I would become a master coach. But I also, along with that, was very conscious that the timing of that wasn't going to happen right away. For me, I was very conscious and very intentional that when I chose to bring that experience into my growth, my journey, not to say that there's only one way, but for me, I wanted to master other areas of the business first. I wanted to master other areas of my coaching first. I wanted to have the experience and coach as many as I could leading up until that. And I think that really added to my experience when I decided to become a master coach. And I think that that is earned and it takes time. And to me, it is about the number of reps that you take. It is about being in it. It is about gaining the experience and always prioritizing growth and evolution from a place of service. All right. The next skill that I think goes right along with what we just talked about in building and growing your business is your business acumen. And it's building it, growing it to a level that is congruent with your goals. And I think that's really important. And so what I mean by this is that I see far too many coaches who right now are feeling stuck, who feel like they've hit a plateau, who might be spinning their wheels, who are in a place where they're being very reactive, who are feeling burnt out in their business, who are jumping from what I talked about earlier, that one shiny object to the next, who are looking for that silver bullet, so to speak, who think there is this one thing or this one secret. And when they find it, their business will magically arrive at 7 figures. And what I will tell you is that there are no shortcuts, meaning there is not a silver bullet. There is not a shiny object or a tactic that will take your business to 7 figures. What will and does take your business to 7 figures is the leadership that you demonstrate consistently over time, is growing your business acumen, is doing the things that we are talking about in this series. It is about becoming the leader that your business needs you to be. That is what will take you to 7 figures. So I will say here that there are far too many shiny objects out there that it's very easy to become distracted with. There are thousands of tactics that right now you are being bombarded with. There is an illusion many times of that elusive silver bullet that will magically change the business. These are all things, my friends, that will keep you spinning. And so what I want to encourage you to consider is that when you put yourself in an environment of true growth, when you are called to step into a higher level of your own self-leadership, where you are doing the boring but vital work of building out and implementing a real marketing system in your business, when you're applying long-term thinking more often than not, where you're continually sharpening your saw and you're helping your clients get better and better results, where through that process, you become the business owner that is capable of leading and creating that level of growth, that is when the 7 figures become inevitable. Knowing the how and having a real business strategy, having a strong strategy is vital to your success. It's required. And it's actually required more when you're earlier on in the journey, and more so even when you're established, when you do have a proven offer, when you've sold that offer, where you've reached that 6-figure mark or more. The how is important, and it will also change depending on where you're at in the business. So for example, what might make the most sense when you're starting out in your business versus when you're farther along, when you're already at that multiple 6-figure mark and beyond, the how will be different. So I want to encourage all of you right now to take a look at your how. Are you clear on what that is? Are you clear on how exactly you're going to double, triple, or quadruple or more your business this year? And I will say if that right now, if you cannot answer that with certainty, that you need a how. And also, when you know the how, what happens from an emotional perspective and from a mindset perspective is that rather than spinning your wheels and spending your time around how you're going to do it, your brain will actually go out and it will start to do the work of executing and creating from the how, which are 2 very different things. So while yes, the how will change based on where you're at in your business, and even through the process of implementing the how for any business, it's going to evolve. It's going to change along the way. But knowing where you're going and how you're actually going to create the level of success that you want is vital. All right. The next lesson I want to impart on you is that mindset does not change in isolation. And I'm going to say this again because this is so important. Mindset does not change in isolation. Here's the thing. I've experienced this myself, where you may be doing all sorts of inner work, where you might even have a practice where you're looking regularly at your mindset, where you are even experiencing shifts through the work that you're doing. And what I've also experienced, and I've observed with clients regularly in my programs, is that unless you are in a container or in an environment where even that mindset, the mindset where you've done your own work, unless that is being challenged, unless you have that different perspective, unless you're being challenged by somebody who is invested in your growth, who cares about the results that you're creating, who can see the things that you can't see, because we all have blind spots, it's very difficult to make the real and lasting change in your mindset. And this is why I believe that mentorship and coaching is vital as a business owner, because let's be honest, we can only see what we can see. For instance, I can see for my clients can be the one thing that unlocks that next level. That can be the one thing that unlocks everything. And I've had some recent examples of this in some of my recent coaching sessions, where by bringing certain things to the surface, and I'm thinking about one client in particular, by just bringing a few key things to the surface that were already there, that were already happening in the business, that for some different reasons, this client wasn't able to see at the time. But by being able to bring this to the surface and to be able to show this client these key things that I could clearly see from my vantage point, it completely changed the way that she thought about her business. It completely changed the game on how she felt about her business. It immediately changed her perspective on what was possible. And the cool thing is that we didn't even change anything in the business. It was about seeing more clearly what was already there. And this is why, again, mindset doesn't change in isolation. In fact, had we not had that conversation, had she not seen these things in her business, it's very likely that she would have gone down a path where she was thinking unhelpful thoughts about certain aspects of the business and about herself and about what was possible for her. But the truth is that through coaching and having awareness to this is what shifted
allowed her to shift that in an instant. So this is why if you're a business owner and you're not in a container where you're being coached, where you're being challenged in your business, it has been my experience that it will be very difficult to create the level of breakthroughs that you truly want, unless your current level of thinking is being challenged and ultimately is growing as a result of this perspective change. All right. That one is really important. Okay. The next lesson that I feel compelled to bring to you is that I believe it's very important to be a coach and to be growing your business from a place where you're doing it because you believe in coaching, because you deeply know and value coaching. And it's not just because you see the opportunity of coaching. And I want to be clear, this is a very important distinction. Something that I have said since day one when I decided to launch my business was because I believe in coaching so much, because I believe that coaching is some of the most important work that I believe we can do as humans. And this comes from a place of my own personal transformation. And when I really consider and look back at my entire career, even before I officially certified as a coach, when I look at who I have been in my life and who I have been in my career, my entire career, I have always been somebody who has been extremely interested, who has practiced, who has studied personal development. And when I was creating my outline for this podcast, when I was really thinking about even back on my early career, even in my early 20s. So way back, even when I was fresh out of college, even in college, when I look back at the books that I was reading at the time, when I look back to what I was focused on, I was reading books like As a Man Thinketh. I was reading books like The Four Agreements. I was reading and digesting all sorts of books and information from people like John Maxwell and Dale Carnegie and Malcolm Gladwell and Simon Sinek. And I was learning from greats like Earl Nightingale. So when I decided to become a coach, for me, it felt so natural and so aligned because truthfully, I've been coaching my entire career. I have been coaching high-performing teams. I've been leading high-performing teams, immersing myself, working on myself for almost 2 decades, even before I decided to become certified as a coach. So while yes, before I made that decision, I did see what was possible for me. And I'm so grateful to people like one of my mentors, Brooke Castillo, who showed me what was possible. And at the same time, it also came from a place, and I made the decision from the place of because the work matters, because coaching matters, because coaching, I believe, changes lives. And I have been a product of that. I have experienced that my entire career. So I share this because I think with the growth that we've experienced in this industry and because of the opportunity that does exist. And at the same time, I want to be clear. I also believe that part of my mission is to show you and to be an example of what is possible through my business, through my clients' businesses, and really show what is possible through that. And at the same time, I also believe that that desire has to be coming from the right place, that it must be coming from a place of because coaching matters. And when I look back at all of the clients that I've worked with throughout the years and that have been the most successful in my containers, by far and large, it's because they are doing the work from a deeply convicted place that coaching matters. It's not just a business opportunity. It's just not a way to make money online. And I also think it's becoming more and more important, and it's going to continue to be important moving forward. So I want to encourage you to just be in the game because you believe in coaching and because you believe in the power of coaching, and not just as a way to make money online, but to actually do the work in the world that you're meant to do. All right. This next one is a big one. You are not entitled to a successful business. You have to put in the work. All right, my friends, this one is big. When I consider my experience, when I look at my clients who are generating 6, multiple 6, 7 figures and beyond in revenue, one of the things that I can say without a doubt is that there is no entitlement happening. Meaning just because you are a coach, just because you are certified as a coach does not mean that automatically you will have a successful business. Rather, the most successful coaches that I have mentored, that I have coached, are the ones that take full responsibility, that understand that creating success and creating a real business, a business that generates 6, multiple 6, 7 figures and beyond in revenue, that takes effort, that does not happen overnight, that it does require putting in work, that it will continue to require work, and that different stages of the business will require different things, and that it is going to be a journey. And also that it must be treated and approached like a real business for it to produce those levels of results. And so this is so important because, again, with the growth of the coaching industry, with the opportunity that does exist, and the more growth that we have seen at the same time, there is a sense that I have seen in some cases where there's a sense of entitlement that comes into play, whether that might look like feeling like you shouldn't have to do certain things in the business, or when you perhaps implement certain things in the business and it doesn't exactly go as planned. It's very easy to fall into a place of entitlement where there's a line of thinking that I'm doing all of the things and I've done everything to a T and it's still not working to the level that I think it should be. The truth is that the level of work that has been done has probably not been effective enough, that the degree of effectiveness that needs to be done, that the business needs you to do, is higher than what has been done. And so I just think it's so important to be able to be honest about that and to look at that and to really understand that part of your role as the leader of your business is to be able to effectively evaluate and to determine based on data and not based on emotion, whether or not you're hitting the mark, whether or not your messaging, for example, is falling flat, or whether or not your offer or how you're communicating your offer, how you're missing the mark in your sales conversations, how that is contributing to the results or lack thereof that you might have. And so this one is really big. So it's about being able to approach your business from a clean place where there isn't an underlying sense of entitlement happening, but instead it's radical responsibility. It's radical clarity on what is actually contributing to the results that you have, and being humble enough and coachable enough to recognize that you probably have some areas for growth and you're probably not implementing things as effectively as you think you might be, that you might be missing the mark in some areas. This is big. All right. I told you there was going to be some tough love here. And this next one, I'm extremely passionate about this one. And this one is all about being the leader your business needs you to be. And I want to be clear on this. I'm not talking about being a good coach when I say this. That is given in my world. For my clients, for all of you listening, you know you're great coaches. You know you have the tools, you have the skills, you have the training, whatever that might look like to you. You also know that the work you do helps to change lives. What I'm talking about here is from a real business perspective. Are you really being the leader that your business is needing you to be? Meaning, are you actively doing the things that are actually going to move the needle in your business? Or are you focused in places that aren't moving the needle? Are you working perhaps from an unfocused or maybe a distracted place? Are you focusing on things again that isn't really going to move the dial in the way that you want it to? Are you not showing up fully? Are you not being consistent? Where are you not telling yourself the truth? One of the exercises that I found to be very useful and helpful in my own journey is to think back when I was on the executive team in my former career. And I think back to the time when I had weekly executive meetings where this would look like all of the executive team, and all of us would literally sit around the table in the conference room and we would report as an executive team our numbers. We would report our performance for the week. We would report for each of our respective departments each and every week where we were falling in terms of performance. And we would report that to not only the president, but we would report that to the rest of our executive team. And when I consider that time and I think back to being in those meetings, the level of accountability I felt in that each and every day, not only to my executive team, but to the organization, to my own team, and to the shareholders, I have to tell you all that was very intense. And while it was a very intense position that I was in, while there was a lot of revenue and responsibility and marketing that I was responsible for, it also allowed me to grow and cultivate and become a leader. And I became, through that journey, a leader who was responsible for leading multi-million-dollar sales and marketing initiatives each and every month. We're not even talking every year. We're talking each and every month. A leader who was responsible for almost 50 million in annual revenue. A leader who was responsible for leading and driving 8 figures of growth for the organization each and every year. And I will tell you, when you have this level of responsibility, it doesn't leave much room for lack of leadership. In fact, I have to say there was a reason why I frequently was called in to help out and help fix, quote unquote, struggling teams, to help grow and cultivate the leadership within the organization. And it first started because I was willing to lead. I was willing to continue to grow as a leader. And all of that happened because I first learned how to lead myself. I first made the decision to lead myself. And so today, when I look at my business and the work that I do, a big part of my work with clients is helping them to cultivate and grow that leadership within themselves so they can lead their businesses. Because the truth is your business will only grow to the level that you grow as the leader. This is a very important lesson. All right. Lastly, to become $1 million coach, you must become disciplined in your thinking. When I look back, one of my strengths that I can see that has really helped me create the results that I have and that I've experienced is because I've been very attuned to and am continually working on how do I become more disciplined in my own thinking. So something that I am continually looking at for myself is where there might be a gap or where there might be a belief or something that I might be even accepting as a truth that might be limiting me. And so even today, as I look at myself, I'm always looking for what might be limiting me right now in my next level. It's something that I'm continually looking at with my clients is where can I help them to become more disciplined in what they might be accepting as true? Where can I help them and support them in the areas that might not be serving them? And so for me, this has been huge. And this has also meant being highly selective to what I choose to listen to what inputs I choose to have in my own brain. I have a very high degree of discernment towards where I spend my time, where I spend my energy. And so I would encourage you to look at this for yourself and to look at where you might be able to become more disciplined in your thinking, in your focus, and where you're spending your time and your energy, because it matters. All right, my friends, take some time, consider these lessons for yourself. Ask yourself where you're falling in terms of these lessons and where you might be able to get even just 1% better today.
The reality is that when you get into full alignment with what it is that you're selling, and when you get into the actual selling of it, that part will become so much easier because you will have less resistance to it. So just like in this client example, now this client is able to clear up all of that mind chatter around this and really focus on the marketing and selling and really getting the new exposure now needed for this program, and feels so much more confident as they're doing it, which is one of the byproducts of this. Because when you overcome that resistance, what will happen is that you will then be able to bring a whole new level of yourself to the process. You will be able to bring a whole new level of thought leadership to your messaging, to the marketing that you're doing, to your sales process, so that essentially the overall marketing of your program will become so much more effective as a result, because you are bringing this new level of you to the process. And because you aren't in a place where you're continually spinning or questioning on your offer, it will clear up that mental space. It will clear up that vital mental real estate that you have for you to actually then focus on the delivery of the program to focus fully on your clients and ultimately help them get better results. So as a result, your clients will then achieve better results the more aligned you become with your program and with your offer. All right. So the other lens that I want you to consider that I laid out at the beginning of this episode is that I want you to consider a great offer, a great program, a truly transformational program that truly gets results. That's a grand slam in your client's eyes. That's irresistible when they look at your program. This is one of the most important elements to your success. And here's why. A grand slam offer, aka an irresistible program, will always outperform any marketing strategy. It will always outperform any sales tactic. It will always outperform any social media tip or trick. It will always outperform any funnel. So essentially anything that you might be doing to sell your offer, rather than looking at how you're selling your offer, what I would encourage you to do first is look at the offer itself. Is it truly an irresistible offer to your clients? And be careful here because this isn't about what you think. This is about what they think. So one of the questions that I would encourage you to ask is this a truly irresistible offer in the eyes of my clients? Are they seeing this as a no-brainer offer? Or is this something that maybe isn't fully resonating with them? Is this an offer that doesn't actually get them excited about what's possible for them? Is this an offer that isn't actually speaking to the things that they actually want solved? And we've seen this happen time and time again, where the offer that you might be offering and trying to sell isn't even addressing the real problem that your clients want solved. So one of the things that I teach my clients on and that I observe over and over again is that there is so much nuance in the process of growing and scaling your business. And one of the tricky things is that what you might think might be irresistible to your clients might not actually be irresistible to them, or might not actually be the problem that they want help solved. So it might actually not be positioned in the way that is most effective. So it's so important to really tune in and to know and to understand what it is that your best clients actually want. It's going to make your marketing, your sales, essentially everything else that comes after that point, it's going to make it so much easier. And so I really invite you to do this work, to look at your current offers, to really assess whether or not they're in full alignment with you, with your clients, and really meeting your clients exactly where they need and are willing to pay you for. While there will likely never be a time where you won't have any incongruent beliefs present in some way, the good news is you can still create huge success in your business. The secret will be the faster that you align your beliefs, the more aware that you become about what it is that you're actually thinking and you're spending your mental energy on, the faster your business is going to grow. Entrepreneurship is such an amazing journey, my friends. It is an opportunity, I believe, to meet your true self, to know without a doubt what it is that you're truly capable of. It not only starts with what we talked about here today, but also to the degree that you continue and do the work and align your beliefs with that which you want, so that you can create the results that you desire. I promise it's all available to you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the $1 Million Coach Business Podcast. If you're ready to step into the $1 million version of yourself and scale your business to 6, multi-6, or 7 figures and beyond, go to amandakarlstadcoaching.com.